organ trafficking by life-saving professionals
Actually, I did that one,
threatens inanely
but
contradicting Christian principles of
wasn't crying that
sanctity,
hard. Like I definitely cried
moral
that hard.
responsibility, and protection of the vulnerable.
Doing like self,
So, the thesis
but
statement
like I was
that develops
by myself.
towards this presentation is like this discussion sheds light on the heartbreaking issue of organ trafficking in developing nations where vulnerable lives are exploited, often with the involvement of healthcare professionals. It explores how theologians, as stewards of God, emphasize protecting human dignity, examine the scientific relationship with the theological responses, and call for compassionate, ethical, and effective solutions to end this injustice. So, abstract for abstract would be like organ trafficking is a terrible problem that targets the weakest people, particularly in developing countries where people are forced to make unthinkable decisions out of desperation. Surgeons who are supposed to be occasionally participate in these heinous honors, violating their ethical obligation to preserve life. The sanctity of life and human rights that are valued by many religions, particularly Christianity, which emphasizes the defense of the defenseless and the intrinsic worth of every individual is violated by this practice. While their communities are caught in cycles of injustice and poverty, victims frequently suffer not only physical pain but also severe psychological and financial wounds. This presentation discusses upon how the less fortunate and most vulnerable are exploited by organ trafficking, which
Oh, we're
causes
so close.
unspeakable
Yeah,
pain.
we're so freaking close.
Some
We
medical
literally need
professionals
20.
also neglect their profession in order to save lives by supporting the illicit trade. Victims suffer from long lasting financial, emotional, and bodily harm, and their communities deal with growing unfairness and poverty. Urgent, humane, and compassionate action is required to address this issue. Christian principles like the sanctity of life, fairness, and dignity provides strong direction in the struggle to protect the need, restore hope, and uphold the worth and dignity of every human life. Governments, religious institutions, and medical professionals must work together globally and enact stronger legislations and ethical changes. First of all, we should talk about what is organ trafficking. So, it is a medical standard. So, first of all, we should know about why, what is organ transplant. Then we would talk about what is organ trafficking. So, it is a medical standard that organ transplantation has become a victim of its own success. Kidney transplantation has been a life-changing surgery all around the world. Since the first successful transplant was performed in 1954, over 126,000 solid organ transplants, including over 84,000 complete transplants, were carried out globally in 2015. Even if it is impressive, only about 10% of the world's requirement is met by transplantation activity. Transplant-related crimes such as trafficking in human organs and trafficking in the removal of organs have emerged as a result of the imbalance between the supply and demand for organs for transplantation, in addition to posing major threats to both public and individual health. These acts violate fundamental human rights. The illegal removal of human organs from living or deceased individuals, as well as in any subsequent use of those organs, is considered as human organ trafficking. This occurs when the removal of is carried out without the living donor's valid consent, or in the case of the deceased donor, without the authorization required by domestic law, or the living donor or a third party receives a financial gain or comparable advantage in exchange of the removal of organs. Many people who are dying of organ failure may try to obtain an organ by any means possible without questioning the source of the organ, because they are aware of this. Organ traffickers are more than happy to make sure the bodies of these victims are used to satisfy the demand so they may make some money. Unfortunately, medical personnel are also prepared to either intentionally conspire in organ trafficking for financial gain, or at the very least ignore the practice. Organ trafficking is a lucrative industry. It was predicted that 12,000 illegal transplants worldwide in 2017 brought in $1.5 billion, and estimated 5 to 10% of the kidney transplants performed annually worldwide are from the victims of the organ trafficking. So now we should discuss about how medical professionals are involved in it. Like, we have seen medical professionals as our life-saving personals, and for us, they are next to God. But surgeons are the key players in the organ trafficking because they frequently perform illicit transplants on weaker patients, like the poor who can't even question them, or the persons who don't know what is going on in the medical field. Some surgeons work with criminal networks participating in unethical procedures like unlicensed surgeries and transplant tourism, driven by financial incentives and the worldwide organ shortage. Poor people in developing nations are disproportionately affected by these practices, which are against medical ethics and human rights. Strong legal structures that make such actions illegal, international cooperation, and rigorous adherence to moral principles like those stated in the Declaration of Istanbul are all necessary to combat these problems. The medical community needs to support laws that address the underlying causes of trafficking and encourage more organ donation. So now we should know about some of the case studies and the perspective of people on these. So first case study I would want to discuss about is Israel. So on suspicion. In Israel, it's like on suspicion of being a part of the illicit organ transplantation ring that operated as at a private hospital in Istanbul. A prominent Israeli kidney transplant surgeon was detained in Turkey during a gunfight between police and armed thieves at Rabin Medical Center in Petah Tikva, northeast of Tel Aviv. On April 27, Zaki Shapira, the previous head of the transplant center, was taken into custody. Hospital employees and physicians from Turkey were also taken into custody. So, another case I would highlight here would be 11 suspects, 2 Syrian and 5 Israelis, were taken in custody by the police of Adana, which seems to be suspicion for the trafficking organs. Like, after reviewing the passports and the legal documents, it was shown that those were smuggling the organs to the border gates of the Provincial Directorate of Security and launched an investigation. It was discovered that 2 of these people were Syrian nationals and members of ZMZ, had forged passport because they had forged passports, and the police and to tackle this, the police carried out an operation and captured the suspects, including the Israelis and the Syrians. After conducting the technical and the physical monitoring, numerous counterfeit passports, $6,500 TL and 10,400, which is nearly $321.777 and 994 Israeli shekels, which is nearly $267.26, were found during the inspection of the suspect's homes. Before the police arrested the suspects, they were examined by the Atlanta Forensic Medicine Unit. So now I'm going to discuss about one of the professor's view on the case of the organ trafficking in Israel. So one of the personalities is Professor Jay Levy and Professor Aiton Moore. Two of the Israeli top transplant surgeons encouraged the Ministry of Health to spearhead a legislative effort to curb transplant tourism. During the Knesset subcommittee hearings, they are examining the organ transplantation bill. The two doctors were crucial. The doctors contended at those gatherings and sporadic publications that Israelis' involvement in the organ trade must end because it is immoral. They supported the transplant law and with the Israeli Medical Association, therefore pronounced selfless organ donations devoid of financial stresses. So I will discuss about Christian perspective on the case study of Israel. So here the sanctity of human life has been held, because here we can see organ trafficking and the exploitation. The Christianity upholds the sanctity of human life, asserting that all individuals are created as the image of God, as it is seen in Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. The illicit organ trafficking underlines this principle by treating human bodies as commodities rather than as sacred. So, exploitation of the vulnerable individuals. Here it was seen the involvement of the young Syrian nationals, AS and the ZFZ, in the organ trafficking scheme raises ethical concerns about coercion and exploitation. Christianity condemns these actions and of exploiting the vulnerable as reflected in the passages like Proverbs chapter 31, verse 8 and 9, which urges speaking up for those who cannot defend themselves. Another case study I would take of India. So one of it is like police in Punjab state, which is at the northwest part of India. So the Punjab state, basically in the Amritsar city, have discovered that they refer as the mother of all scandals in human organ trafficking in India. So a number of patients were involved in human trafficking. One of them was Dr. Parveen Kumar Sarini of Akar Hospital, which was managed by Dr. O.B. Mahajan. The principal of the government medical center was taken into custody because they were suspected in organ trafficking. So the most vocal support of a person's right to sell a kidney in India is Dr. Reddy. His practice up until 1994, when it would have been still permissible to remove a kidney without a valid medical reason, was reportedly excellent. That's what he argued. And the protocols are to prevent kidney brokers and their commission 2 years of free follow-up medical care and education for prospective sellers of the ramification of the process. So, as of 2022, now I'm going to talking about like 2022, India had completed nearly 2,700 liquid disease donor transplants and just over 30,300 living transplants, according to Dr. Sunil Shroff.
It's
20 people die every day in the nation due to the lack of organs, and there are still over 3 lakh patients on the waiting list. Are there, so the questions that here are
because like I
arise
found
were,
that once
are there any
I started
gaps
enjoying
in
the
the
show,
transplantation legislation that
and
need to
then
be filled,
on days that I
and
didn't
how
want
do
to
they
go,
operate?
even though I
What
did like the show,
regulations apply to the foreigners?
it was
How
just
can the
easier to
protection
push myself
of
because I
donor
was just like
rights be strengthened to prevent exploitation? Can the transplant program be expanded to accommodate the demands of the nation? Because most of the foreigners also come to India as the medicine in India is one of the best and cheapest for them. And for cheap medicine, they come to India for. So here, the Christian perspective. Yeah, the Christian perspective that I want to talk about is selling organs. The practice of selling organs raises ethical concerns as it commodifies human life. From a Christian perspective, the body is a temple of the. According to the Christian perspective, the body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, as it is seen in 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. And treating it as a mere economic asset undermines its sacredness. And also, like as I discussed earlier, the Genesis 1, chapter 1:27, any form of exploitation dehumanizes rituals and violates this principle is opposed by the Christian teachings and the theologians. And also, organ trafficking is described as a scandal, often exploits the poor and the vulnerable. So the third case study I'm going to talk about is from Egypt. So, Eritrean refugee David, 19 years old, left his homeland at the age of 30 in order to avoid being drunk. He was struggling financially in Sudan when a trafficker tricked him into selling a kidney. He was motivated that he would get some money by selling a kidney. A person can live with like a person has 2 kidneys and he can live with 1 kidney forever. So he tricked him by saying that he would get like $5,000, and from this $5,000 he would be able to pay for his trip to Europe and start a new life. But David was left frail and unable to travel after having surgery without the required approval and being left behind in Cairo. Isaac, his purported smuggler, who was involved in tricking David for his illegal organ transplant, leaving him isolated and without supplies. David's quest for justice was silenced when he sought police assistance and was threatened with arrest and deportation. His experience serves as a reminder of the systematic neglect and abuse that vulnerable refugees experience when they are caught in the illegal trade. The Christian perspective here. So here, Christian doctrine says that life is a blessing and life is a heavenly gift from God that should be cherished and cherished beyond all else. Like here also we can talk about Christian bioethics, like based on Christian teachings. Bioethics tackles moral conundrums by highlighting the value of human life and condemning overuse of it in medicine and associated fields. As a human, having been made in God's image, humans are the stewards of the universe, endowed with dignity and the duty to protect the environment and life, while coordinating human behavior with divine wisdom. So here, I will talk about the scientific relationship with this issue. So as the medical sciences is advancing, the modern science has been made organ transplant possible. Organ transplantation possible, offering hope to the patients at the end stage of organ failure. It's like techniques in immunology, surgical precision, and post-transplant care have significantly increased success rates. Sciences has also introduced innovations like tissue typing, immune suppression, drugs, and use of artificial organs, reducing the dependency on human donors. Like the human organs can be grafted from just a piece of tissue, and without finding any suitable donor, which will be used to tackle any type of problem or not getting an organ from a suitable donor. So the challenges addressed by science in doing this is the lack of available organs, because organ transplantation needs a suitable organ donor, and there would be a lack of available organs because there are lack of suitable donors, and which has led to advancements in regenerative medicine, such as growing organs from stem cells and xenotransplantations using animal organs. These innovations aim to decrease bans on human organ donations and reduce illegal trade. So, what solutions do we impose to stop these organ trafficking, this illicit trade? It's like we must cooperate collectively to safeguard vulnerable lives in order to prevent organ trafficking, like strict legislations against the human traffickers and assistance for victims are demanded by the UN's Palermo Protocol, which was set up in 2000. Also, it's also while making sure healthcare workers abide by moral principles, government should fortify their borders and bring traffickers to justice. The vulnerable should be educated and should be asked to question their health professionals that why do they need an organ transplant? Because it is their right to ask the health professional about it and get only the organ transplant will help them, or is there any other way to treat them?
Okay, so I had a really bad
Also, like we are reminded to respect human dignity and refrain from exploitation by the 1948 Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, which states right to life, right to information. That's what I talk about.
Like even if it's just the bar.
While establishing equitable organ donation programs provides moral choices, educating populations that are danger and enable them to fight traffickers, we can address the underlying causes of human trafficking and give these most endangered hope by tackling poverty and offering assistance. So, concluding all my presentation, I would like to say that the defenseless are always preyed upon by the organ trafficking, which robs them of their trust and dignity from the health professionals. And it's also they are targeted because they are the most uneducated person, because they don't know what's going on with them and with their body. And it's like they don't question upon what happened to them. They only just think is that like people just say that hey, you just need to donate your kidney or liver or something else in place of that you can get some money, and somebody that you use it for your households or your family to sustain. So poor people, because of devastated financial conditions, they are often trapped in this illicit trade. So we can save lives, address the underlying causes, and put a stop on this exploitation by fortifying laws, encouraging moral medical practices, or like remember, like make the medical professionals remember that the oath they have taken while before started studying for the medicine that they are going to save each and every life, and for them nobody is the enemy or anything. It's just each and everybody is just a temple of the Holy Spirit, and for them it's the patient they have to save from them. Educating communities like the poor communities that they should question their health professionals, that why they have to go through the organ transplanting, and or is there any way other to go there and consult one or two doctors maybe, and taking consultation from more than one doctor and regarding, and then come to a conclusion, and they have to go to the organ transplantation and also promoting international collaboration. This will give those who need it most hope and restore their dignity. Thank you.
Well, that is driving or my mom.
She's incorrect.